Love and Death, Episode 7, title Sssshh. Anyway, this is the final episode of this mini-series. And this one is really well put together. I mean, the weird thing about it is when I saw like 57 minutes, I was like, what is there left to do? What is there left to do? This should be like the shortest episode. This should be at least like 40 minutes because I'm like, all she needs to do is say, this is what happened. Okay, all Kate needs to do is say, this is for self-defense. Betty was swinging an axe at me, and out of fear of my life, for self-defense, I killed her. And yes, I did it 41 times, but I was afraid that she would just keep getting up and always wanting to attack me. I thought that would be it. And we saw what happened, and it's a horror movie. Like, you are seeing, like, axe blows. You're seeing an axe heading to the head, an axe heading to the spine, an axe heading to the leg, axe heading towards the back of the face. You just keep on seeing shit, like, seeing it. And the performance between, I forgot the actress' name who plays Betty, but, you know, Elizabeth Olsen who plays Candy, Carol Garvey, is, like, it sounds like someone really wants that Emmy. I feel like someone really wants that Emmy. Like, you know, One Division didn't do it, so she's like, I want that goddamn Emmy, and I feel like this is gonna be it, at least another nomination, because this episode really shows it. Like, the moment that, you know, Dom, to get a human and emotional response from her, he just, like, grabs the axe and shows, you know, like, hey, do you recognize this axe? Do you know that there was an axe? Do you see this? And she's like, no, I don't want to look at it. Please put it away. And I'm like, the performance that she gives is just absolutely fantastic. Once again, Dom versus Judge, perfection. And I just love how they play, like, Dog Days during his attendment for the 15th bloody time, and he's like, yeah, I'll just put my stuff there, fingerprint, mugshot, and then in like an hour, I'll trim my thumbs like for 20 minutes, and now I'm out. Because there's another $100 bond, you know, it's all that type of thing. Here's the thing, the show as a whole, it has a great pace. The performances are great. There's a mystery going on, like, definitely when episode 4 comes around, and you're like, okay, clearly Kenny killed Betty, but what really happened? Was it self-defense? Was she bullshit? I mean, even that, you know, the DA is like, well, if that's the case, why were you lying to the police? Why were you lying to your friends? Why were you lying to your husband? Why were you lying in the first place until you got caught, and then you told us what really happened was a self-defense, so why should we believe you? And basically using, on this episode, I really didn't get the so she went and smacked her with the axe 41 times because it reminded her of her mother. How her mother would say shush, and Betty said shush, and it snapped and she went for it one time. I don't really get that part. I mean, there's a scene in this I don't get, which is Alan is with a woman, a relationship of a blonde version of Betty. Like, literally, it's the same fucking actress, but she's blonde. And I'm like, is it her sister? You know, maybe a sister from another mother? Like, is it her sister? What's going on? I mean, it's a little bit wrong that, like, if that's the case, you're, forking your, dead wife's sister, if that's the case. Even if it's like a sympathy thing, like, you're doing, both of you are doing grief, both of you need some companionship, and instead, a hug, a cry on the shoulder leads to a, how to say, friendly on YouTube, fucking, that's what they were doing. It's weird that, but that's the only one I went there. But outside, like, testimony stuff, I'm like, okay, get it, all that. I won't lie, with the things I wish they maybe added a little bit more in the other episodes is that relationship with her mom. Knowing that even if with Candy's mom, because even if it's just that, hey, Candy's mom wanted, was very, like, you don't show any emotions, like, like the typical, how the old standard male thing is that, don't see them, don't show any emotions unless it's happy or anger. You never see sadness, and she's kind of applying that on Candy. And, finding out the situation where she, accidentally had, cut some glass on her head. Yeah, understandably so. A child or anyone would be crying, but she's like, shush. I kind of wish they kind of expand it a little bit more, like, what was her relationship with her mom in general versus that one situation. But I guess the mindset, but well, it wasn't really needed for the plot. So even if it was through dialogue, really, the one thing I forgot to mention last week that I really enjoyed was the community aspect. How the community just couldn't believe that, it's like, no, that's not Betty. Betty wouldn't do anything violent. And then, on the stand, we find out that, the testifier was like, yeah, she was friendly and nice, but, there was a bit of a little bit, she was a little bit unhinged, or a little bit, wastly, you may say. I mean, I enjoyed that. It's a really damn good show. It's a good show. Is it the greatest thing that HBO has done? No. I mean, this year, I'm not watching every HBO show that's coming out this year, but, I mean, if someone asked me Last of Us or this, I'll probably go Last of Us. Yeah? Honestly. But, yeah, I'm not regretting watching this show. By just a little clip of, like, HBO's, like, coming in 2023, and it's just a sway at the camera, close-up shot of Elizabeth Olsen in the car saying, would you like to have an affair? Like, outside, and I'm like, and then seeing handcuffs, I'm like, what, an affair leads to a murder? I was like, okay, sign me up. So, yeah, I don't know what might be the next HBO show I might be covering. Maybe Penguin? And when I mean Penguin, I mean, yeah, as in the Batman Penguin. As in, there was last year's film called The Batman, and there's a sequel before the sequel TV show with the Penguin. Yeah. So maybe that. Maybe True Detective. Maybe when True Detective comes around, but I don't know when that's coming out. When's that coming out? Like August or something? October? So might cover that. But yeah, guys, the only episode I didn't like didn't care about much was episode 3. Just because nothing really interesting was happening. It is kind of sad that, because it's based on a true story, that, you get those, this is what happened to the rest of the people, this is what happened to the people. One was weird about Betty, because they're like, Betty got killed by Candy. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. This is what this entire show was based on anyway. But also, you have, when they showcase, Pat, Will, Pat, and Candy, and how they went to Georgia, start a brand new life, because they couldn't, even though she's guilty, all people see is her community that she knows, will just see her as this axe murderer, or just like sees this is the person who killed. It didn't matter the situation. It's just like, hey, she killed basically someone they knew. But in it said, oh, they had a divorce. Not so long, maybe a couple of years after they moved to Georgia. You're like, after all that happened, you kind of like, god damn, you kind of wish something happened. You wish they had a happy ever after. But apparently that wasn't the case. It is sadly not, you find, basically what you find out is the people in real life that these actors are playing didn't really have a happy end after the big after the tragedy happened. One got a gunshot. Dom got killed in '98 because of a gunshot wound. Alan remarried and got divorced, and he had a third kid, and then a third marriage, and blah, 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 blah. You're just like, Jesus. You're like, god damn. But that's what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, guys, should I check out the Hulu Disney Plus? Depends what part of the world you are. The other Karen Bagawi thing with Jessica Biel. Should I check that one out? See the differences. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, comment below what you think of the show in general, the episode. Do you think that the finale is really well put together? Yeah, I thought they wrapped it up pretty well.